Hi everyone, it's Zoe here from Living with a Sleeve. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. What we're going to chat about today is sort of one for the family, really. I think it's something that often people forget about, is that, you know, if you go through a sleeve gastrectomy, that actually means a big change for the whole family unit. And so we're going to talk about how best to support somebody with a sleeve. And also, if you have a sleeve, things to just be a bit mindful of when it comes to sort of dealing with the changes with your family. Just before we get started, I wanted to tell you that I'm really excited. My newest ebook, which is called A Sleeve Gastrectomy Survival Guide, is available now on Amazon and on the website. And I'm really excited because it's sort of your guide to making it through the initial stages of the surgery, so from Optifast through the fluids and the purees and back onto solids again. You can sort of find it easily, just search Sleeve Gastrectomy Survival Guide or Living with a Sleeve and you'll find it in Amazon. Also, just another reminder that on the website livingwithasleeve.com, there are free downloads there for you. So there's my top 10 tips to living with a sleeve, and also the lunches, so 20 great lunch ideas, so things that you can take from home but also things that you can buy if you're out. And you can sign up for the monthly newsletters there as well. Okay, and that'll just keep you abreast of what's sort of happening on the blog, Facebook Live, on the forum. And if you ever have any questions, either just comment on Facebook or message me, or you can fill out a form or put a question into the forum on livingwithasleeve.com and I'll get back to you. Alright, so let's just have a quick chat about family, okay? It can be really tough supporting a loved one through a sleeve gastrectomy, and it's really difficult, I guess, to kind of understand what a sleeve means for someone if you're not going through that process yourself, or especially if you've never had a problem with your weight yourself. So a few things just from a family point of view. The best thing that you can do is get involved. I love it when family members, husbands, wives, children come in to their family members' appointments to see me, because it means that they can ask all those questions that are worrying you, and you can also hear all of the information at first hand, so you're not relying on your partner or your family member to give you the information about the sleeve. Okay, so really is important to get involved. The most supportive family members will be those that sort of help with the research and do some reading of their own, ask those questions, attend those appointments, and that's definitely the best way to go about it. Also try and be understanding. I know that sounds really condescending and sometimes it's difficult, but going through such a big change as a sleeve can actually be quite a stressful and turbulent time for someone, and trying to be understanding and patient is really important. So for example, doing Optifast, they are going to be grumpy, so you've really got to just take it and run with it and just relax about it and know that it will pass and it will get easier as time goes on. Also help with changes. Sometimes people will say things to me that, like for example, you know, my family still eat really fast in front of me, or my family still put big portions on my plate, or my family just hate hanging around waiting for me to finish my dinner. And that does make it really tricky, and it does affect the whole family unit. So if you can understand what the person is going through and what eating for them is like after a sleeve, it will make it easier for you to kind of, I guess, help support them through that change, and then help support them in their new eating habits. So for example, you could go back and have a look at a few of the videos that I've done on eating with a sleeve in the long term, or you could read, there's a great blog post that I've done about like the gastric sleeve diet, so looking at what you can and can't eat and how you need to eat in the long term. You could also learn a bit about mindful eating, because we could all do with slowing down a little bit. Often we all eat too fast, so if you can slow down as well, it sort of brings it back. Obviously you're eating more food while you're taking your 20 minutes to eat your meal, but at least you're all taking sort of 20 minutes to eat your meal. Is how long we should be taking, 20-30 minutes. We should be more relaxed. We shouldn't be eating in front of the TV. So if you can start sort of focusing on those mindfulness techniques around your food, you'll find it much easier to sort of deal with that sleep gastrectomy as a family unit. Another interesting point is celebrations, because celebrations always involve food. There is always someone, you know, there's cake at a party, or there's wine at something, or you go out for coffee or go out for dinner. And whilst the person that you're living with a sleeve can do all of those things just in smaller amounts, sometimes it's nice to find ways to celebrate in that don't involve food or alcohol. So maybe thinking as a unit, as a family, brainstorming other things that you could do now that maybe their mobility is a bit better. Maybe you want to, you know, celebrate by going out for a bike ride, or going to the park, or doing an activity that they couldn't have done before. So maybe it's something like the bridge climb in Sydney, or, you know, I had somebody celebrate by climbing a mountain. I mean, it doesn't have to be those extremes, but just thinking of ways to I guess move forward and try and think about other ways to celebrate. So it's not always relying on food. The next one is just trying to be encouraging rather than critical. Sometimes I think family get really worried that the person in your family that's had a sleeve is perhaps not eating what they should eat, or not eating how they should eat, or maybe drinking more than they should, or maybe, you know, their weight loss has slowed down and so they're worried. And I know most of those comments come out of support and worry and love, but those comments can actually put a little bit of a wedge between your relationship. So if you're concerned, come in and see the dietitian with your partner. Maybe suggest other healthy activities that they could do just to support them to getting into exercise. Maybe learn about what eating with a sleeve really means. And going back to what I mentioned earlier, you know, a person that has a sleeve can eat anything, it's just in moderation. So sometimes it is okay to have a bit of cake if it's a birthday, but you just need to be careful as their family not to sort of jump on them and make them feel guilty for doing so, because that doesn't help anybody in the long term. Finally, the last thing I wanted to just mention is, like, look to the future together, because the person that you love has gone ahead and had this surgery just so that they can, I guess, have a longer and happier and healthy life. So if you can actually really just take a minute and stop and think about what you want to do as a family, maybe make some plans for a holiday or trips, or maybe there's something that you've always wanted to do, or a business that you've wanted to do. And I think really kind of starting to think about those provides a good positive encouragement for the person that's had the sleeve, and some bonding and some support, and something exciting to look forward to as a family. So all of those really will combine in the long term to make that person's sleeve so much more successful if the family is on board. Okay, just a little bit about now moving on. If you've got any questions, I know there's a few people live, please just post them in the comments. Sorry, I didn't say that before. I just wanted to make one little comment about deciding about surgery, and it's not an easy decision, and the person that you care about has probably thought about that decision for months, for years, not taken it lightly, and whilst it is elective, for some people it actually might be really necessary and something that they need to do for their health. And just understanding a little bit more about that decision and communicating with that person is going to be really important to keeping your relationships really healthy. Ask them what they know about the surgery, tell them what you've read, concerns you have. That comes back down to, again, going into any of the information seminars or the pre-op appointments with the surgeon and the dietitian, and bringing up those questions and those concerns that you have with that person so that they can take that into consideration when they're making their decision. All right, last little bit that I wanted to talk about is just what to keep an eye out for as the family member of somebody that has a sleeve. And I guess really the biggest thing here is that making changes can be really stressful, and it can be emotional for everybody involved. So not just the person that's going through the surgery, but also the family. It can be hard to make lifestyle changes and actually stick to them, and it can be an adjustment for everybody. You know, you might need to restructure the way the family works so that that person can fit exercise in, or maybe you need to kind of adjust the way that you all do your cooking and your shopping together. Something to keep an eye out for is if that person is using other tools other than food to cope with stress. So we know a lot of people before having weight loss surgery use food as a coping mechanism, and what we've done when we've given them the surgery is actually taken away that method of coping. So sometimes we do see people turn to things like alcohol or gambling or smoking or even shopping. And if this happens, ring the team that is looking after that person. Bring it up with them, be open with them, say that you're worried about them and how can you help, but also, you know, book them back in to see their team, because it is something that they will definitely need psych or counselling support for. Really just to kind of nip it in the bud early. So if it's something that you notice, don't be afraid to say something. Encourage them to see their psychologist if they have one, or to book in to see a psychologist or a counsellor if they don't. And also remember to take care of yourself too. I think this is really important. Sometimes we forget about the family, and we forget about the changes that it means that you need to make as a family member of someone with a sleeve. So if you're struggling to cope with the changes at home, or if you're feeling like the stress of the surgery and the changes is a bit too much, please ask for help. You can talk to your doctor, psychologist, a counsellor, or even there are lots of support groups now, especially say Facebook forums, where you can go and join just to get a little bit of support, listen to other people's stories about how it's worked for them. And remember, the surgical team is really here to help you. So I'm here, the psychologist is there, the surgeon should be there to help you. So if you have questions, just ask, okay? And I'm going to leave it there. Reminder again, please ask me any questions if you have anything that you're not sure about. I'll be back on again on Wednesday next week, and I'll post a little reminder on Monday and Tuesday so that you can pop it in your diary. And if you after more information, if you want to discuss this post any more with me, if you're not sure, if you've got concerns, or I'd love to hear even just what you've come across when you've had this somebody go through the surgery, or if you've had the surgery, what's happened within your family or your friendship group. So please let me know. You can comment on here, or you can send me a private message, and perhaps we can, you know, do a follow-up blog post maybe with some people's experiences in the future. Alright, thanks so much for joining me, everybody, and I will chat to you next Wednesday. If not, I'll be in touch sort of with the question and answer and the blog next week. And Rose has joined. Hi Rose, I'm sorry I'm just about to jump off, but nice to see you. Thanks for joining, and we will catch up soon. Alright, thanks guys, hope you have a good day. Bye.